You didn't ignore the red flags because you're stupid. You ignored them because you were lonely, because you were tired, because you were hoping this time someone would finally choose you, and you're not the only one. Most people stay silent about this part, but I'm going to say it for you. You're not alone. You knew at the moment they raised their voice. The tone, the words, the way they spoke to you like you were something they scraped off their shoe. They didn't just talk to you, they cut you. Every insult was disguised as a joke. Every harsh comment was followed by, "You're too sensitive," and you believed them. You convinced yourself it wasn't that bad. You told yourself they were stressed, tired, frustrated. But deep down, you knew the truth. Someone who loves you doesn't use their voice as a weapon. Someone who loves you doesn't make you feel small just to feel big. But you stayed because you thought maybe if you loved them harder, they'd speak to you softer. You remember the days they vanished? No calls, no texts, no explanation, just silence, the kind that eats you alive. You checked your phone every hour, then every minute, then every second. You blamed yourself for their absence. You wondered what you did wrong, and then, out of nowhere, they reappeared with a story that didn't even make sense, a nonsense excuse, a half-hearted apology, and you accepted it. Not because you believed them, but because you were scared of losing the only person who made you feel something after feeling nothing for so long. You ignored the red flag because the silence hurt more than the lie. You caught them lying more times than you can count. Small lies, big lies. Lies that didn't even matter. Lies that made you question your own memory, your own reality, your own sanity. They lied so easily, so casually, like honesty was a language they never learned. And every time you confronted them, they flipped it back on you. Why are you overreacting? Why don't you trust me? Why are you always assuming the worst? But you weren't assuming. You were seeing the truth. You just didn't want to accept that the person you loved was a stranger wearing a mask. Every small issue became a battlefield. Every conversation turned into an explosion. You learned to walk on eggshells, carefully, quietly, terrified of triggering another storm. You stopped expressing your needs. You stopped sharing your feelings. You stopped being yourself. Because their anger wasn't just loud, it was unpredictable. And unpredictable people make you shrink. They make you apologize for things you didn't do. They make you feel responsible for emotions that were never yours to carry. You ignored this red flag because you thought keeping the peace was better than starting a war. You noticed how you were always last. Last in their priorities. Last in their decisions. Last in their life. They chose their family over you, their friends over you, their comfort over you. And you told yourself it was fine. You told yourself you were understanding, patient, mature. But the truth is, you were starving for the bare minimum. You were begging for a place in someone's life who never planned to make room for you. You ignored this red flag because you thought love meant sacrificing yourself. But real love doesn't ask you to disappear. They were close enough to touch you, but far enough to never truly hold you. They gave you just enough affection to keep you hoping, but never enough to feel secure. They kept you in a place where you were always guessing, always waiting, always trying. And that's the cruelest red flag of all, the almost. The almost love, the almost effort, the almost future. You ignored it because you fell in love with their potential, not their reality. Once they raise their hand on you, everything changes. Not for them, for you. They watch how you react. They watch if you break, if you cry, if you stay. And when you don't leave, they learn something dangerous, that you'll tolerate it. So they apologize 100 times, promise it'll never happen again, and the moment you forgive them, the power shifts. They know they can cross that line and still keep you. And it keeps happening, the apologies, the excuses, the cycle, until you set a boundary so strong it scares them. Or you walk away for good. After everything she endured, the lies, the silence, the overreactions, the loneliness, she finally understood something she had forgotten for years. Love is not supposed to hurt like this. Love is not supposed to make you feel small, invisible, or replaceable. So one night, she stopped waiting. She stopped begging. She stopped shrinking herself to fit into a life that never made room for her. She packed her pain, her memories, her strength, and she walked away, not to punish him, not to prove a point, but because she finally realized she deserved a love that chooses her back. And for the first time in a long time, she chose herself.